Okay, these are the steps to follow in the meditation here. Last time we tried it with the ear, but we did not complete it. All the steps we did not do because there was not enough time. Today we can try with one sensor. Let's quickly look at what are we going to do. First, bring the awareness to the chosen sense faculty to capture the present moment activity there. Okay, what can we choose? Since we chose the ear last time, let's choose the nose. Okay. Then capture the contact happening at the nose and the resulting phenomena. Phenomena could be that perceptions, sensations, and volitions. Okay, so that is about your internal part. So thirdly, you identify this as an internal experience of an input. Then fourth step is becoming aware that this kind of smell activity is happening not only internally, not only by you, but at the same moment, many other living beings are also having smelling activity. Fifth step, next step is to become aware of the existence of both internal and external sense faculty. External means other living beings, internal means you. Then realizing that these sense faculties are everywhere uh, with all living beings. So it's a natural phenomena happening at a sense faculty. Then we can contemplate how does that sense faculty arise and how does it pass away. Probably, possibly with the knowledge of the causes. But the knowledge of the causes is not a must at the start. As meditation develop, you can slowly add them. Realizing that all sense faculties arise and pass away at a rapid pace, and it's a cause-effect relationship. Uh, Also realizing that no sense faculty is permanent. They activate and deactivate. Again, they appear and disappear. Nothing is permanent there. Okay, those are the steps we will go through. Shall we do the meditation? You can get ready. Because we select the nose for the exercise now, you can close the eyes. Eyes are not needed. So close the eyes. Slowly become aware of your body, how you are sitting. Become aware of the head, neck, hands, legs, and the central part of the body. Okay, here I am. Here I am right now, sitting like this. Then bring that present moment awareness to the nose. Forget about the rest of the body. Forget about the rest of the body. Let go of that. And slowly bring the attention to the inside of the nose, where we identified as the nose, inside. Become mindfulness of that area. Mindful of that area. Okay. You can sense smell now. It may be very faint because you may not be very close to a source of smell. but very faint smell can be identified. So repeatedly say to yourself, this is smelling process happening. Smelling process happening right now. This is smelling process happening right now. Slowly, the awareness will rise about what is happening there. What is happening there? So visualize the nose in contact with the smell form. Visualize the consciousness appearing there right now. Nose contact happening. And here is the sensation. Experience it. Here is the smell perception. Identify the smell. Perceive it. And here are the volitions. The mind thinking about that smell. Generating emotions. Creating a mental state. Identify the resulting mental state as well. It may be neutral state, or it may be lustful towards the smell, or it may be hostile towards the smell. It may be deluded because the causes of the smell are not clear. Then we call it a deluded mind. When the causes are not clear, it's delusion. Okay, once again, focus on the nose. Experience the nose contact happening there. Experience the resulting sensation, which is a neutral sensation. Then experience the smell perceptions. Experience the volitions, the mind doing volitions. Emotions happening, and then experience the mental state. Keep doing it several times now. Maintain present moment awareness. Let go of past or future expectations. Okay, so nose contact and the resulting things you are experiencing now. Okay, now identify this as an internal experience. This is one of your own senses performing an activity of smelling. Now, think of other living beings, other noses, human noses, and animal noses of various types. Visualize all of them out there. Infinite number of smell sensors called noses are active now. And visualize nose contacts happening in other living beings everywhere. Expand the mind boundlessly, infinite number of nose contacts. And the same process of perceptions, sensations, and volitions happening in those other living beings, in the smelling activity. Now move to the next step, internal and external. So whether it is happening with your own nose or happening with other living beings' noses, they are all smelling process, smelling activity happening here as well as out there, here as well as out there, everywhere, boundlessly, infinite number of nose contacts, smelling activities happening. Now realize, okay, this is the nature. This is natural, infinite number of smell performances happening. Okay, once we identify that nature, bring the attention back to your own nose, internal nose. That nose contact, happening, appearing, disappearing. Keep observing. Happens fast. Observe neutrally, silently. At leisure, you don't need to observe very fast. Once you notice it happening, it appearing and disappearing, contemplate on the causes. The nose, the smelling activity appearing, what are the causes? To disappear, what are the causes? So with full knowledge of those causes, let the experience continue. Okay, let the understanding to appear that this process is not permanent. It appears, disappears, reappears, and disappears. That's the impermanent nature of the smelling process. And same impermanent nature with all other living beings. So smelling process, whether internal or external, appear and then disappear. reappear and then disappear, reappear and disappear. Have a broad understanding. Okay, those are the steps to follow. Now you can come out of this meditation, request your mind to reset and come out from meditation. Okay, we did it fairly fast since I wanted to cover all steps. But when you are doing at home, do it leisurely. You don't need to jump from one step to the next one very quickly. Right? You can wait until sufficient experience with each step is gained before you go to the next step. So initially, I have read from your journals that there are lots of other disturbing thoughts crossing the mind when you try to do it with the eyes and the ear. Some of you have described that experience very clearly. That's really good. You have tried it. Initially, these other thoughts crossing your mind is a common experience. So don't be disheartened about it. It's not an error from your side. It is again the nature. But the natural occurrence is that with practice, it is also the nature that with practice, these other thoughts are not appearing at that rate. Slowly, the other thoughts will be not disturbing you. Therefore, maintaining practice is what is required there. That is my advice. So rather than trying it once or twice, just don't give up and continue. You will be amazed to see how much the sense of presence at the present moment can be gained by your mind, and you will be glad you did that after some time. Right? So that kind of advice I can give. For some of you, I have written the feedback also in the feedback. If there is anything that you want to clarify by voice, by asking by voice, you can do it now. Okay, I'm waiting if you have any questions. Okay, it seems no questions, nothing in the chat also. So we will continue then. But from what you wrote in the journal, I know that you have been doing it and trying it. That's really good, encouraging. Please keep it up. Right? Right. Now, this whole exercise, we did partly earlier. This part, I think it is clear to you now since we have done it several times. So these sensations, perceptions and the volitions, initial volitions here, they will be captured by the mind. It is the mind which generate this consciousness to capture these things. So this is how the input system to the mind works. Right? Mind itself will be an input to the mind. I will show that later. But is it clear now how the eyes give inputs to the mind? There is no color here. No color here. The color perception is after the sensor, the eyes. What is out there is some kind of energy in the form of waves. Similarly, sound form is out there, and smell form is out there. Each of them will be captured by the mind like this, and the mind will capture the previous things you remember through this path. From the mind itself, mental formations will be captured by the mental consciousness, and that can be used as an input to the mind when other inputs are not taken. At any moment when another input is not taken from these other five, the mind is looping with itself this way. So these are the inputs. And I think you are familiar about your own things. You are taking these inputs all the time, right now also. And what are the outputs of the mind? Earlier, I mentioned that there will be inputs, there will be some processing in the mind, and there will be outputs which you pass to the actuators. On the input side, you have sensors like eyes, ear, nose, they all are sensors. Output side, you have actuators. What are the actuators we have in our body? The muscles. There are a large number of muscles in the body which can be controlled by the mind by sending commands through the neural system. And mind, one of the outputs of the mind is identified as physical volitions. For example, for me to move a finger, move a finger like this, a physical volition should be generated by the mind and communicated to those muscles there. Even for your eyes to blink, even for an eye blink, physical volitions should be generated by the mind and sent to the eyelids muscles. So various muscles are there in the body. There are a lot of physical volitions happening as outputs, and the body will respond by taking action. Even breathing. Breathing is a physical volition generated by the mind. Volitions are not physical. Volitions are not physical, they are mental. Their action will be physical here. But what about other volitions? Is it only physical volitions that will be your output? Verbal volitions will be there, which will be activating the muscles in the vocal tract to produce different sounds. They are called verbal volitions. The third type of outputs of the mind are called mental volitions. Mental volitions are completely kept within the mind. That means you can remember something and you can think more about that thing, mental volitions, and you can remember the new. You can remember the updated version of that mental formation. So updating what is already remembered by your mind is done by mental volitions. So it is mind itself and loop back so that mental formations will be updated. So you can see the mind here, the mind here, and the mind here. It's all same. This is the input part happening within the mind. This is the output part happening within the mind itself. So mind itself is a self-contained organ which can be considered as an input as well as an output. So this is yourself. What is on the screen is yourself, considered as a system which has inputs, sensory inputs, and outputs going to the actuators to do various activity. A meditator will be mindful of all this. Continuous monitoring of the self and the activities is the objective of mindfulness. And therefore, these output sides we will be discussing later a little bit, not in full detail. But I'm sure you know that these things are being activated by you while you are living through the day, through the activities of the day. Right. So updated mental formations will be coming to the mind. Right. And those updated mental formations are the ones which will be going here again to take an input. Okay, next step of our discussion is to move to the middle area here, the aggregates, this part. The sense faculties is the part we finished. We now know there are 6 of them, and we know how they do go about doing their own activities. So let's discuss a few things about the aggregates which are required for that meditation. But we will not do full meditation on the aggregates due to time limitation. I will introduce it, but you can slowly incorporate as time permits later. Aggregates are actually summary devices, summarized way of thinking. I will first give the names of the aggregates. After that, I will relate it to your ear, eyes, nose, etc. Okay, one is physical form, physical or tangible, you can touch. Then intangible, feelings or sensations. These words I think you have already heard. Feeling aggregate or sensations aggregate. Perception aggregate. Sanya, they are called sanya, these are called vedana. Then volitions. Volitions are activities. Then consciousness. Those are called the 5 aggregates, 5 summary devices to explain yourself, 5 aggregates. Let's see how to aggregate. Now, when the eye is active, that means you are seeing. You already discussed about this. Eye and the color form will be combined with the eye consciousness to generate eye contact sensations, color perceptions, and the volitions. Okay. This is the physical form. This is consciousness, sensation, perception, volitions. There are 5 of them you can notice. Similarly for the ear. There are 5 of them. Similarly for the nose. And when the tongue is activated. So that meditation you can especially do while you are taking meals, while you are eating. You can become mindful of the process happening at the tongue. Then the body, again the 5 levels you can see, and the mind. Now, when we aggregate horizontally like this. Volitions. All these volitions we put together. Volitions we put together like this. Whether it comes due to the color or due to the sound or due to the smell, without worrying about that, all the volitions we group them as the volition group. Volition aggregate we call it. Is it clear, the word aggregate? irrespective of which input sensor the volition has taken place, if it is a volition, you aggregate it as a volition. If it is a perception, you aggregate perceptions as one. Right? Likewise, you can aggregate feelings here, aggregate consciousness, aggregate these physical form. These are directly physically available. They are physical form. So then when we aggregate horizontally like this, you get 5 aggregates about yourself. Physical form aggregate, sensation aggregate, perception aggregate, volition aggregate, and the consciousness aggregate. So a living being like you can be considered as consisting of 5 aggregates. Without thinking of from which input this is generated. That means whether it is generated by the action of the eye or action of the ear or nose, we don't consider here. We just consider the factors only, the aggregates only. And then we add the time dimension when we meditate. Time dimension is the present moment aggregates is what happens right now. But in the past also there had been these aggregates. In the future also there will be aggregates, 5 aggregates. Therefore, when time dimension is added, there will be past 5 aggregates, present 5 aggregates, and future 5 aggregates. That's how you seem to continue. That's how you perceive yourself as from the childhood to the present state and from present state to the future. So therefore, aggregates, we can include the time dimension and separate them into past, present, and future. That's all internal about yourself. Right? Then we add another dimension, which is intensity dimension. Intensity dimension means how strong is the aggregate. Okay? Subtle aggregates can be there. Rough or strong aggregates can be there. For example, smell. If you take smell form, there can be subtle smell form and there can be rough or strong smell. Smell perception also like that. Feeling also could be subtle or rough. So that is another dimension or another classification you can add to understand these factors, mental objects. Aggregates are mental objects, right? Another factor you can add is mental disposition about that aggregate, which means whether you like it or whether you dislike it. Depending on that, it could be your mental disposition could be bad or good towards that feeling, that smell, or that color. Likewise, you can add the dimension called mental disposition. Why are we doing all this? Because we want to understand a living being. To understand a living being, the sense faculties is one way that talks about the input. And 5 aggregates is another way that is not only the input, output, and the process, everything summarized into 5 aggregates, 5 kinds of aggregates. Okay, then the location dimension. Now, first location is yourself. Here, right now, right here, these physical form, feelings, perceptions, volitions, and consciousness are there at this moment. But that is for this location. But what about the locations outside? Are these present in the outside or not? That is another dimension we can add. external aggregates. That means 5 aggregates of other living beings. And take the living beings in your home, maybe your relatives first, siblings. But not only that, at home you will find various other living beings like this. Of course, you may not like them, but they also have aggregates, physical form, like eyes, ears, all that, feelings, perceptions, their own way of perceiving, then their own way of activity, volitions, and their level of consciousness. So likewise, living beings around you all can be decomposed into these constituent parts called aggregates. Another living being at home, 5 aggregates. Likewise, whether they are close by or whether they are far away, whether they are visible or invisible, all living beings, you can decompose into 5 aggregates. So it's like this. This is you, this vertical line. You right now having 5 aggregates. This is another living being at this moment having 5 aggregates, another living being having 5 aggregates, like that infinite number of living beings in all directions around you, considered as consisting of 5 aggregates. That's how this meditation goes. Again, it's boundless, and your mind will be finally expanded to understand all living beings by their aggregates. So this is, but I just did this introduction to the aggregates. Then during meditation, we generate awareness of the 5 aggregates as they occur and as they are at the present moment. First internally about yourself, then externally about other living beings. Then we don't stop there, internal, external, we don't stop there. We consider past, present, future aggregates. We consider strong aggregates and subtle aggregates. Those other dimensions which I introduced earlier, you can introduce in your meditation. Then we can contemplate, closely examine and contemplate the aggregates arising and passing away. Aggregates arising and passing away with full knowledge of their causes. So we will not go to this level due to the time limitation in our course, but we can still observe the aggregates. So right now, let's do a small exercise on that, 5 minutes, just to give you an idea. So what we can do is, again, sit leisurely and close your eyes, or half close the eyes. And bring the awareness to yourself. Here I am, right now, right here. I'm sitting, this is my body. Visualize it. From top of the head to the bottom of the feet. Visualize the whole body. Then visualize the eyes. Not what you see from outside, but inside the eye. You know that place called the eye. Then visualize the ear. Inside the ear, that eardrum. Then visualize the nose. Visualize the tongue. Here is the tongue. Okay, then visualize those 5 senses, all 5 senses, and then visualize the relevant physical form in contact with them. Then all that you can consider, you can aggregate them in your mind, summarize them, and give one word to all that. This is internal physical form. This is the internal physical form aggregate. Those things are physical. Okay. Similarly, identify in other living beings, similar physical form aggregates are there. Infinite, boundless physical form out there. Okay, again, focus on yourself from top of the head to the bottom of the feet. Identify the sensations or feelings. Identify the sensations or feelings, whether it's generated from the ear, nose, throat. Don't worry about from where it comes. Sensations are happening, isn't it? Okay, here are the sensations. The feelings originated by touch, you can experience now. Everywhere in the body. Everywhere in the body, sensations are there. Name them, aggregate them, and say, okay, all these are internal sensations. All these are internal sensations. Then think of outside. Understand all other living beings are having sensations right now. Infinite number of sensations out there at this moment. Then whether they are internal or external, combine all of them, aggregate all of them, and identify they are all sensations, feelings, sensations. Infinite, boundless amount of sensations are happening right now. Okay, next. Next, again bring the attention to yourself from top of the head to the bottom of the feet, from all senses. Perceptions are being generated. Color perceptions, sound perceptions. Listen, you will get the sound perception. From the nose, smell perceptions. From all 6, perceptions are happening. Perceptions are happening. Aggregate them, summarize them. Okay, these are internal perceptions at this time. Internal perceptions at this time. Then think of all other living beings around you, whether they are close or whether they are far away. Are perceptions happening with them? Yes. Boundless number of perceptions happening right now. Happening right now with other living beings. Then internal and external together. Internal and external together, all perceptions. think of all perceptions of all living beings and name them as, okay, all these are perceptions. All these are perceptions. Natural phenomena called perceptions. Boundless, limitless, infinitely happening, infinitely omnipresent everywhere. Okay, now focus the attention to yourself again. Focus on volitions. Volitions, the activities of the body, voice, or mind, generating different kinds of volitions now, right now in you. To identify external things, lots of volitions are happening in your mind now. Volitions related to this meditation is also happening. And then external, other living beings, they are also doing lot of volitions. Understand the boundless, limitless nature of volitions. Then whether volitions are internal or external, they are all volitions. Volitions are natural phenomena. They are present everywhere, right now at this moment. Omnipresent, everywhere. Limitless, infinitely available. Okay, next visualize again yourself from top of the head to the bottom of the feet. Bring the awareness to yourself. Become aware of the consciousness. Consciousness happening in the eye, ear, nose, and then body, mind, becoming conscious, getting new information. So here is consciousness. Here is self-consciousness, internal. Then external. Think of other living beings. They are also having consciousness right now, at this moment. Now internal and external together. Internal and external together. This is all consciousness. Consciousness is a natural phenomena, appearing, disappearing. It's there in every living being. So full aggregate. Then aggregate all the five right at this present moment, whether internal or external. There are physical form, there are feelings, there are perceptions, there are volitions happening, consciousness happening. Present moment, boundless or limitless aggregates. Then try to understand in the past also, there have been boundless, limitless amount of aggregates arising and fading away. Now try to understand in the future also, there will be boundless amount of aggregates appearing and disappearing, reappearing and disappearing in the future. Put the time dimension. in the past, in present, at the present and in the future. Boundless number of aggregates appear, disappear. This is the nature. This is the nature of living beings. Okay, we will stop at that point. Before opening the eyes, just try to understand these aggregates are not permanent. They appear, they disappear. That's the nature. So you can open the eyes to finish that meditation. Because it is not the full meditation, because I did not give you the courses for individual aggregates. But that will be sufficient for you at this level, just to decompose each living being into 5 aggregates, and then putting everything together to summarize and understanding the boundless or limitless nature of this phenomenon. Right, next time we move into this very important area called hindrances. They are important for 2 reasons. One reason is they will be important for your studies, for the concentration. And also that knowledge will be important for you to practice samadhi states, concentration states. So that is where we will start next time. And next time we will be having a short quiz like last time again. So please keep in touch. And this week also, I will suggest you will practice these meditations as you like. You can choose, but try each meditation as much as possible and enter your experience into the journal. Okay, so we will stop it there. Thank you very much, and take care, stay safe.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.